All right, hello everyone, and welcome back to the Cinema Wave podcast, part of the Culture Wave Media Network. We are talking about Invincible Season 4. The finale has aired. Last week we caught so much flack in the comment section. We got a new host to do Invincible. Sean and Vinny are off the podcast. It's just me today. Just kidding. Just kidding. They're here with me. We got Sean.
Yo!
We got Vinny.
Hello, hello.
They had a very spirited conversation last week about episode 7.
Yeah.
Sean claiming peak, and Vinny was not impressed. It was a good conversation.
Vinny is the low testosterone hate maxer on the podcast, and I'm the epic giga chat positivity maxer. I'm trying to use youth lingo with our audience. You know,
No,
we got a lot of Zoomers on here.
This will get us to 1,000. Sean talking like this.
We're gonna get at least 3 new subs, guys. If you're not subscribed to this Culture Wave Media Network, we are 3 away from 1,000 subscribers. It could be you. Maybe we'll send a little gift your way. Hint, hint.
Don't make promises we can't keep. But anyway, I really liked last week's episode. I know, Vinny, you were a little more critical on it. Sean, you enjoyed it. I think it set up this finale really nicely. We had a nice cliffhanger. Where were the Viltrumites? And this whole episode is kind of building up to where are they? I think a lot of people, myself and Vinny, both kind of figure that the Viltrumites were integrating themselves into Earth society because we saw that Thrag essentially saw Mark as a Viltrumite and he saw Oliver as a failure. So it would make sense that he would see Earth as a potential new home for Viltrum. So I really like that the Viltrumites are now kind of among us on Earth, and they're kind of the gun under the table. You never know when it's going to go off. So I really like that. And I think this finale overall was really good. I think it does raise some concerns for future seasons that I think we'll get into a bit more. But Sean, want to give it over to you. What did you think of this finale?
Yeah, I generally also feel very positive about it. I'm going to concretely say that this is my favorite season in the show, barring season 1. I think season 1 is untouchable, but I think this is as close that I've felt as like, wow, this is a really great show. I'm excited week to week since season 1. Really enjoyed the season overall, and I like this finale. It's very lax. It's not like a typical big Invincible finale, and I think that's why a lot of the the goobers on the internet are already, I've been seeing the hate coming their way. I'm like, nothing happens. It's a filler finale. It's like, yeah, dude, you know what? It's called character work.
It's called falling action.
Yeah, it's it's the falling action of the season. I think a lot of really great plot beats happen here. It was kind of nice being reintroduced to planet Earth and all these characters that we've been away from for a couple weeks. Even though I think the space stuff was hyper interesting, and now we're kind of like settling back into the status quo. I think there's some new stakes established that are very interesting. I think the character dynamics are starting to change in really interesting ways. Everyone is kind of falling into a new role in the story, and it ends on a really great promise for season 5. So overall, very positive.
Vinny?
Yeah, I have a lot of the same sentiments. I really did enjoy this episode. I love all these character moments. I think Alan has a great character moment. Amber, not again.
Freudian slip, dude.
I mean, Eve and Mark have a great character moment together. Debbie and Nolan have a great character moment. And then at the end, Thrag and the big reveal. Great character moments all around. Love this episode. I love the editing of this episode. There are some things that do annoy me about this episode. I think the continuing or the very repeated fake outs.
Yeah, the gimmick.
These hallucinatory visions that Mark is having. It got really stale really quick after I thought the third time was going to be the real time, but they do it like 3 more times after that. It's like, all right, guys, let's stop now.
Yeah.
I also don't like how they treated Cecil in this episode.
True.
Which I think that deserves a bigger discussion.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
And I think a lot of what happens in this episode, the writing is great. I love what they do with the characters, but I kind of did predict a lot of this. Not saying that's a bad thing, because the execution of it is really well done. So I'm excited. I'm excited going into season 5, but it begs the question, is the status quo going to be interesting?
Yeah.
Or are we going to go back to fighting Dr. Seismic and doing all that bullshit,
Yeah, well, you guys talked about it a lot. We're progressing the plot week after week with season 4, and that's why we were also interested in season 4. But now it seems like we're going to revert back to this earthly kind of stakes where it's just like random villain of the week, and it's like, okay, Mark just fought the most powerful being in the galaxy, now he's struggling to fight a T-Rex. Like, it's
Yeah.
gonna be, I hope they are able to handle that well. I don't have full confidence that they will, but I do think where they set up the end of this season going into the next one, there's so many great character like conflicts that are set up. You know, Alan now has the key to the Scourge virus, which essentially is now just an Earth killing virus because
Mhm.
the Viltrumites are only on Earth, and it says it kills Viltrumites and any Viltrumite like being. So humans. So now Alan has the key to that. Obviously, the Viltrumites are going to start multiplying. So I think that presents a very interesting conflict in the future. And then we also have Debbie and Omni-Man kind of rekindling their relationship, I guess,
Yeah.
at the end of this episode. I don't love that personally for myself. I don't love Debbie going back down that route, but I understand the show really wants to have this redemption for Nolan, like a full redemption.
Mhm.
But I'm curious your guys' thought on the whole Debbie Nolan thing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess like before we get to the Debbie Nolan thing, I just
Yeah.
want to say, based on what you just said, that I wish I did feel a little bit more confident than I do going into season 5, because I think they really set up this kind of like impressive amalgam of plot and story where you could hit the pause button on this like arc for as long as they want. The Viltrumites can spend their time on Earth. They're in the background. They're not going to do anything. We can kind of just brush them aside. Nolan's off Earth. Debbie's off Earth. Perfect cocktail for Mark to just be fighting villains of the week for all of season 5. Totally possible. May very well happen. And frankly, I'm not that interested in that. As for Debbie and Nolan, I did not see it going this way. I kind of thought and was hoping maybe a little bit that Nolan was going to stay on Earth, because I think he's at his most interesting when he's trying to like fix all of these relationships simultaneously. And I like the idea of him like trying to be a hero again and just like not being allowed to be. You know, like I sort of saw this this like proposed scene in my head of Nolan trying to be Omni-Man again and like maybe trying to save somebody, and they're like, oh, you know, it's Omni-Man, and like that, you know, fearing him. Like, I feel like those moments are kind of robbed from us by not giving him like, you know, free reign of Earth again. I understand why they're doing it, because we're going to focus on him and Debbie. But again, I think you could hit the pause button on that. I think like you could kind of just set them away for the season, give them one episode.
Yeah.
Which is probably what's going to happen. And then like, I don't like that. I love when Omni-Man's part of the central cast like he was this season. You know, these are characters that I think are great when they're all together and stuff's happening. And I feel like, again, the show is just trying to like get back to the status quo. We're going to send everybody in their own ways. We'll like cut to Alan every now and then, and then we could cut to Omni-Man if you're getting bored or whatever. You know, and I feel like just the whole show as a whole is made so much more interesting when everybody's together and on Earth. And I feel like they really just kind of like scattered everyone around. I like that Thrag is there. I love that the Viltrumites are going to be on Earth. I just don't really have faith that they're going to like stay with that and make it like an ever-present thing. Because in my head, like Mark, every episode should be like, what are we going to do? And that should be the plot of the season. And it very well might be, but I don't think that's what it's going to be. So.
Vinny?
Yeah, I agree with that. And then it just remind me that question, Mark. that you
Debbie
said.
and Nolan, how you felt about that?
That's correct. So to answer that question, I like the character moment. I do. I can't really answer how I feel about the scope of this redemption arc because I don't know the end of it yet.
Right,
You know,
of course.
I think in a vacuum right now, I like this scene a lot. But if in the future, if it comes to a point where they try to do the full redemption arc where Debbie like is like, you're fine. You're actually the love of my life again, right?
Right.
I'm gonna be like, okay, this was all shit. I think that there's a way. It's gonna be hard. I don't know. Like, I'm not like that talented of a writer to write that, but I know there's a way to make it that Debbie can forgive him, but not forgive him in the way of like, you know, okay, like I want you back in Earth, I want you back in my life. Like, no, it can be a subtle thing.
Yeah.
I don't want it to be a full forgiveness, because I think that would be BS.
Yeah.
And I don't think that would feel right. I don't feel like it would be earned. But right now, I do like this because it's prioritizing Debbie's an agency as a mother.
Mhm.
You know, she's not doing this out of, hey, you know, I'm trying to forgive Nolan here. No, she is doing this purely out of being there with Oliver. And they're writing their relationship a lot like divorced parents. And I think it is working. But again, I don't want them to lean too much into like how, you know, sometimes divorced parents 10 years later, they get chill with each other again. You know, it's like all in the past. Da, 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 right. But it's more than that. It's like a dude that, you know, had sex with a bug and also like
Called you a pet.
called you a pet, killed half of
thousands.
Chicago,
Yeah.
you know, almost killed your son,
Mhm.
all that. So yeah, it shouldn't be that easy. It shouldn't be that chill later on. But I think the focus for Debbie moving forward should be that motherly agency, and from there she might have to trust Nolan,
Yeah.
but not because she wants to.
Yeah, I think there's a co-parenting relationship that can form that will be healthy in the sense of they're both there for Oliver and Mark, but she
Yeah.
never, you know, fully goes back to him. And it is interesting because he seems very dead set on that happening. Like he's like, Debbie, you have to forgive me. Like Debbie, I still love you. I can
Yeah,
still be the
yeah.
man. So it is interesting because he's gonna continue to push that, and she's going to have to deflect that, but also, you know, be there because he's her only way, like back and forth between Earth. So I think it does set up a lot of interesting conflicts moving forward. But I do like that she kind of owns, and Paul the goat is the one to kind of tell her like, you're a part of this world. And I think it's such a great moment because throughout the show she really has kind of tried to separate herself from that, but like her two sons are basically half alien, her husband is an alien, like she is in that world and she finally accepts it, and I do appreciate where that ends up.
Yeah, I'm curious how the power scaling in the show is going to get mixed up now that Paul's out of the picture, because he was kind of like the top of the line of like the most
It
powerful,
is true.
the most
yeah.
powerful character in the show.
Yeah.
So I guess like his removal is a little strange to me, but outside of that, I mean, I do think that the season overall is setting up a lot of really cool things. I would love the transition and the talking point that you brought up, Vinny,
Yeah.
about sea salt.
Oh yes.
Yeah, I'm really bothered by the way
Ugh.
Mark and Cecil have their little scene in this episode, because I was fully expecting the Mark tweak out, and it doesn't even get brought up. It has to be brought up
Yeah.
that Cecil kept Conquest alive. I cannot fathom that Mark just like forgot about it. I think it's very
he might not
strange.
know that Cecil was the one that,
But Cecil told him he was dead and he was on Earth. So
but he
where'd he
doesn't.
go?
But that's the thing. Like Mark was disemboweled and he survived, so maybe he's kind of in his head thinking that, oh, I didn't actually kill Conquest that first time. Like even though I thought,
But
I
they
did.
had his remains.
Yeah, but
They
I
didn't
don't
throw him
know.
in space. Mark's definitely got to know that Cecil had something.
I
to
think
do
it
with
would be
Conquest being
really
alive.
bad writing if he didn't acknowledge it.
Right.
Like, so I'm thinking he has to have not known that Cecil
No, I
kept
think
him
it's
alive.
bad writing. I
Okay.
think it is bad writing.
I think it's just very bad writing because Mark knew that, I forget the government, right? Cecil and the government, they took Conquest's body and they disposed of it.
Right.
For Mark to then be in space and go, I thought I killed you,
Right.
right? Yeah, that's entirely Cecil's fault. Like, how'd you dispose of the body? Where did you dispose of it? Da 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 da.
Mhm.
How could this happen? You just fucking got me disemboweled like light years away,
Yeah.
you know? See, like, have you guys seen that meme where it's like a black and white
Yes,
photo?
I know exactly
It's
what you're
like,
talking about. He's like,
Cecil,
yeah, yeah.
why the fuck was Conquest out there?
Yeah.
Like-
Something interesting happened to me up in space. You know Conquest? Remember him? Well, he was alive. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Like, I needed that, honestly, because it just feels very odd for him not to acknowledge that.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's really weak sauce. Everything with Cecil has been kind of weak. I think since the season 3 finale, I think Cecil is like getting lightly character assassinated. Just a graze, like a bullet graze. He's not dead, but like they tried to assassinate him a couple times, and my goat keeps surviving, but they're coming for him. And I think like one more bullet, they might take him down.
He
dude.
did kind of have a sick scene with Omni-Man though.
Yeah, I think
I thought
that's
that was a good scene.
I think that's a good
Yeah.
scene. I think when he pops out and he just kind of hits him with the, like, we were friends, man. You're a dick. Like, how could you have done that to me? And like, I'm not gonna forgive you. Earth's not gonna forgive you. And like, I think he says, no. I like the characterization of Nolan where he's kind of getting into like the early stage redemption thing, where he's like, I actually like did do a good thing, so you should forgive me. And then Cecil's like, no, you need to do that like 3,000 more times, and then maybe,
Yeah,
then I'll
exactly.
consider it. Like that's a great line. I think
Mhm.
that really like kind of just puts that in Nolan's head of like where he is. So I think it's super important to Nolan's character, that scene. And yeah, I think like the friendship between Cecil and Nolan is a really like underappreciated part of the show. And I like that we get that touched on. So I agree. That's a good scene.
I don't know if I don't think Mark will bring this up to Cecil, but if he ever does, like Cecil's worst nightmare is the fact that Viltrumites are now breeding on planet Earth.
Yeah.
When Cecil finds out how he's gonna be like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah. I would
How
love to
did this
know,
happen?
like how Mark's gonna handle that secret. I think that's such an
Mhm.
interesting like way to present it.
Yeah.
I happened to learn, luckily, right after the episode, that it was a change from the comics.
Mm.
Where in the comics, it's when Omni-Man and Mark arrive on Earth, and then Thrag just immediately pulls up, and he's like, "We're here. We are here." So they both know, and that kind of like affects. I don't know how that affects the story, but I would imagine that totally changes the trajectory of like what Nolan's doing for at least that part.
Mhm.
So yeah, Mark like now harboring this secret is so interesting to me. Like I wonder if he's gonna keep that close to his chest, if he's gonna let anybody know, who he's gonna tell, when. Like I think there's a lot of really interesting shit you can kind of cook up with that. Because then if he tells Cecil, like, oh boy, now we got a world of drama. I don't know.
I think it'll be very interesting if they do introduce a therapist character because he does ask for help at the end of this from Cecil. I think it would be really, really interesting to actually have him have these like therapy sessions
Mhm.
throughout the season, and even like something like that where it's like client patient confidentiality, like
Right.
so there's Viltrumites all over the planet, but you can't say anything.
Yeah, you can't.
I think that would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I think it would be helpful for Mark because obviously like he is not in a good place.
I don't know. I feel like a therapy thing sounds like a show edition. I don't know if it happens in the comics,
Yeah.
but it feels like it could be a cheesy way of the writers to find yet another way to make Mark complain,
Mm.
which is most of what he does with Eve, regardless. So it's like Eve kind of is his therapist at this point. They go,
Mhm.
as Vinny, as we were talking about
Yeah.
before the podcast, all they do is sit on the roof and cry. So
And have sex.
and have sex with each other. So I think that a therapist character could be kind of cheesy. It is potentially interesting if the therapist gets a character.
Right.
And isn't
That's
just
what I'm
like
saying.
a brick
That's what
wall
I'm saying.
for
Yes.
Mark to yell at.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think a therapist having to kind of be like, okay, patient confidentiality, but also like, dude,
Holy
like,
shit.
holy
Yeah.
shit, that could be cool.
It could be like The Sopranos,
Mhm.
Yeah.
There is a therapist in The Sopranos. Yeah.
Yeah, like I forget her name, but
Melfi.
Melfi,
My
yeah,
goat.
Dr. Melfi. Yeah, she
Dr. fucking
like there's so much of the show is her and having to deal with Tony's
Yeah.
ramblings and whatever.
Viltrumite, you're on Earth. I don't know what I'm gonna fucking do about this. Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah.
Sean's been waiting to pull that out on
Oh,
the
dude,
podcast.
I know. There's no
He's like,
opportunity to do a
finally.
Soprano impression.
Yeah. I think it's I think that whole moment with him and Thrag. I love Thrag as a character. I think he's really compelling as a villain, and I think him putting all of this weight on Mark in that interaction was so perfect. He's like, in one hand, he's like, you're a savior to us, technically. Thanks for that. So that's on Mark conscious. And then the other thing is making Mark decide on something where he really doesn't have a choice. You know, like Mark can't stop Thrag. So
Right.
Thrag saying like, do you accept this offer? It's like,
Yeah.
of course he has
It's like,
to
dude, you
accept
have
the
a
offer.
revolver to my head. Like, I
Yeah.
have to do this. Yeah.
But then it like still puts it on Mark, which I
Right.
love how Thrag is manipulating him, but still Thrag is like honorable to a degree. Like you kind of get where he's coming from. Like he does have the weight of leadership and a species on him. I think they've done a great job with Thrag.
Yeah, he's really been super compelling for me these past two episodes. I mean, that's really the first time we were introduced to him last week. But I think he immediately established himself as like not only the strongest character in the
Yeah.
show, but very smart in like a not Viltrumite way. Like
Mhm.
they're kind of just like brutes most of the time. You know, they're very indoctrinated. I'm curious to see if they'll kind of have their own separate arcs now that they're on Earth.
Mhm.
Like I really like the little snippets we get of like what they're doing already on Earth. So I'd love to see like, some side plots with like motorcycle Craig. I think that would be fucking awesome.
Yeah.
But Thrag comes off as very like, I don't know, I hate to use the word stoic, but kind of stoic, like very intelligent and I don't know, like emotionally manipulative in a way that is just above the rest of the Viltrumite antagonists who are just all about like, I'm gonna beat you up. Like he seems very calculating in a way that isn't that. So he's very cool.
Yeah, I really love the line of dialogue, and I'm gonna be slightly paraphrasing here, but Thrag says, "Willing or not, you are the savior of our people," and that it's there's like so many layers to that, and it's not what I was expecting to hear from him in that moment, but hearing that gave me this feeling of like, okay, Thrag can be really, really cool. I hope they just don't forget about him though,
Yeah, me too.
It almost felt like he's not gonna stay on Earth. Like he's gonna let the Viltrumite stay there, and then he kind of flew off. Like I'm curious if he'll actually stay, or if he's gonna just like
I hope he stays.
Go brood somewhere.
I don't know. I
space.
guess like a little like dating show episode about Thrag would be sick, where he's just trying to like go out on dates and try to get like a woman.
I just can't,
because that's what they want, right? They're all just trying to get laid. That's
oh yeah,
essentially-
they're just gonna like reproduce.
That would be a great series of side plots, in my opinion. It's just trying to watch the Viltrumites get laid for half the season. I think I unironically
Just keep
think that would be
failing.
cool. Yeah, and it's just like I don't understand. Like they're just so upset. They keep like lifting tables up, and they're like, "See, it's so cool," and the women are running like that.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible. Like I said, I think it would be interesting to have like Viltrumite side plots because, Nolan did get changed by Earth, so it's not out of the realm of possibility that a Viltrum could meet someone, they fall in love in their own way, and they kind of have a similar come to God moment that Omni-Man did. I mean, I don't think these guys are pretty hardcore, but I mean, Omni-Man was pretty hardcore.
I would love to see like a generational Cecil fumble in here. This is going to be like kind of a conspiracy theory, probably not going to happen because it's too specific. But like I'm envisioning like Thrag actually finds someone that he cares about, and he's like, wow, like humanity has actually changed me quite a bit. And then he like settles down with some lady. Cecil discovers that the Viltrumites are here, like tries to do something and like kills his loved one. And then it's like, oh dude, now he's coming.
That would be such a dumb thing for Cecil to do.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. They're already
Yeah.
assassinating him. Like at least make it like a cool, compelling point. I don't know. I really Thrag is so interesting to me, partly because I don't know like what the end game is for him. Like he says it's just like, yeah, we're just gonna get our numbers up, but it's like I struggle to believe that he doesn't care that Mark blew up his planet. Like I would have to think that he wants to kill Mark at some point, and maybe it's just about a thing of like, okay, you're a Viltrumite, there's only a few of us, I can't kill you yet, but like once we get our numbers up, like you're fucked. Like that's my thought, but he doesn't seem that way. So he's like very strange. He's like kind of manipulative and scheming in a way that's super compelling to me. I don't know like what his deal is yet, I guess, which is really cool.
Yeah. And we've seen like the other thing I think about is like in previous seasons, we've seen like future versions of Earth where like Mark is like the emperor of Earth.
Right.
I also think that's interesting. Like, does he rise up among like the now like full population of Viltrumites that are now on Earth? Like, does he rise up among them and like say, you know what, I'm the new Thrag on Earth? Like that's something I think about. Not that I like the time travel stuff that they did in this show, but I do think it's interesting that they did kind of plant the seeds earlier on.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think there's interesting places for this to go. Obviously, I think there's also very uninteresting places for it to go.
Right.
We have a lot of potential for Mark. Toilet Man is, he's back on the city.
Titan, the
Titan.
Satan on Earth now.
God.
Yeah,
The
what?
Sequids
The
again.
Sequids, the Egyptian, the
Mummy.
the mummy.
No, the mummy is gonna kill Thrag. You wait. That's been perfect.
He'll
build-up
take
the
over
whole time.
Thrag.
Yeah, he's gonna consume Thrag and then go, I'm going to take over Egypt.
You guys all laughed at me. Now I'm fucking Thrag.
That's probably what's gonna happen. I'm curious, commenters, if you haven't read the comics, I would love to know theories about like what you would think is going to happen if you don't know, because we don't know. So fucking drop it below.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't know if this is spoilers or not, because I haven't been necessarily spoiled, but I do know that the rest of the comic, you start to see more and more time pass, like
Easy.
It's gonna speed up.
yeah, more time skips, more speed up, because I saw a photo recently that with the end of season 4, we are like basically right halfway through all the issues of the comic. Like we're like somewhere between like issue 77 and in total there's like 144 issues, right? So we're like right in the middle. And these past 4 seasons have only really covered, you know, a year or two, like 3 years, right? Very short period of time. So I'm curious how the pacing of the series is going to go if they want to, you know, like the Viltrums, their whole plan is to repopulate. That's gonna take decades, maybe even centuries.
Right.
So like how fast are we gonna move? Like what's the future of the show gonna look like?
Well, they dropped the Scourge virus hint at the end, and I feel like that's
Yeah.
got to be important. They keep bringing up this Chekhov's gun of the Scourge virus. Alan is now in charge of it. I don't know. I mean, Alan seems like a character that wouldn't use it, but
Yeah.
who knows, man? Maybe that's what happens. Maybe they drop the Scourge virus on Earth, and then it's like, oh fuck.
Yeah, I mean,
What are we
there's
gonna do?
there's that. There's obviously some dissent within the alliance. Like they don't think Alan is worthy of being a leader. Like
Right.
maybe there's a conspiracy there to like overthrow him, and then they find out, oh, there's a Scourge virus. Oh, where are the Viltrumites? Earth. Okay, we're gonna send the alliance to Earth.
Hmm.
That would be pretty
Uh-huh.
cool to kind of. I just think there's a lot of ways that they can pin our heroes against each other here. So I think
Yeah.
they've set everything up really, really nicely. I do want to shift to Eve and Mark. You know, we have the big drop that, you know, Eve did get an abortion while Mark was gone. I think we all kind of figured that the baby wasn't gonna. It didn't. I don't think in the story it made sense for like a baby to
Yeah.
be introduced.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was curious what you guys thought of Eve in this episode and their relationship
I
going
don't.
forward.
I mean, I'll be honest, dude. I had a very similar point somewhere last season. I think it was the Powerplex episode, where it's like the show's subject matter gets a little dicey for me sometimes. Like sometimes it's a very silly, like, oh, buddy cop in space kind of show, and then other times it's like we're going to talk about like abortion and people getting their guts ripped out, and this guy like fries a baby and we show it on screen.
Right.
I think like the tonal whiplash for me is sometimes like a little nutty. I think that it makes for really good like character drama, and I think like the emotional beats of the scene are very good. I don't know. You know what? It kind of feels strange to me as like, you know how like there's a thing in Spider-Man comics where it's just about like, oh yeah, we just like threw in this plot point so Peter just like suffers a little bit more. That's kind of what this felt like. Like it sort of feels like we put in this like abortion plot line just so it's like another like slam for Mark when he gets back.
Right.
Because I don't really see like what the point of it was other than just to be like, oh, isn't this fucked up?
Yeah.
You know?
I think it's a very cheap way to build like strength in their relationship. It's like, oh, we got through this. Like,
Yeah,
we
it
deserve
was-
to be together.
It was a very similar thing that they did in The Boys last season,
Mm.
where I think The Boys kind of opens about how it's like Starlight had an abortion and it's meant to like bring them together of like that was our secret and they, you know, took that from us or whatever. And I don't know, maybe it's like I'm getting like sensitive because it's a controversial issue and I'm like maybe we should just fucking leave this off the table. But like I know it's, you know, it's an art form. They're allowed to talk about whatever they want. I just think for plot reasons, I don't know if it necessarily justifies itself.
Mhm.
Like there could have been some other way to kind of go
Mhm.
about this, but
Yeah, I do like their interactions that we have, and I like the character moments. But one thing that did feel wrong to me and came off a little weird to me was how there was much more of an emphasis on Mark than Eve. It felt. It felt like, because by the end of it, you know, Mark keeps bringing up, hey, I wasn't there. And then by the end of the episode, Eve's like, don't worry, like, I'm over it now. So
Right.
that's what came off a little weird to me, is I feel like this is a great opportunity to then focus back into Eve as a character and bring some interest back to Eve. You know, I feel like Invincible has this bad problem of making really interesting characters, devoting a lot of time with them for a certain part of the season, and then just forgetting about them, right? Robot and Monster Girl, remember how much time we spent with them?
yeah.
And now we're just like, and then like we spent so much time with them for this season. I mean, not that I'm complaining necessarily, but what I'm saying is like, why did we put so much time? And there was some interesting moments and character moments there. So why, right? So where is that going to pay off? this could be a time to revisit Eve's character in an interesting way and follow that pain that she had to go through, you know. So
yeah.
So that's what felt a little weird to me, where I do understand, I think there should be a focus on Mark, but it felt like I felt like this could be a good opportunity to also focus on Eve.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was saying about it being treated like a Peter Parker situation, where it's used as like an excuse to make Mark suffer more rather than like actually explore Eve's character. Because I feel like if I did have one major complaint about the season, it would be that Eve is kind of sidelined for a lot of it, which makes sense. A lot of the Earth people are sidelined. But I worry because I think she's such a great character in the first 3 seasons. And now it kind of feels like she's been relegated to just like Mark's girlfriend instead of her own character. So I do hope she gets a little bit more to do. Like I'm hoping maybe her powers come back and she like has more of an arc, especially now that like we're kind of removing the other female characters from the story. Like Debbie is now off Earth, Monster Girl's away. Like we are very male heavy on the Earth side now. So I want Eve to have some kind of role.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you guys. It does feel like Mark makes it about himself. You know, I get that he feels guilty that he wasn't there, but he's like, every scene is him just being like, I fucked up. Like, I need to be there for you. And I feel like in some of those moments, and maybe in next season, I feel like Eve should call him out or be somewhat resentful of him because, you know, one, they were irresponsible, and then, you know, he wasn't there and he's been making it about himself. I feel like that would be interesting to kind of have a little bit of a riff in their relationship. Because
I mean, I guess, but also like he did just come back from like a war.
I know that
She drops this bad news on him, and rather than be like, oh, like how could you? He's like, you're right, it was my fault. Like I feel like that's actually kind of like good hubby, you know.
I mean, it's definitely like healthy that they're talking about it. He wasn't like, yeah, I agree.
What's she gonna call him out on? Being sorry?
I guess focusing on himself more than focusing on the trauma that she's gone through in all this time.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's more the way that the show's presenting rather than like an emotional choice that Mark is making.
Yeah, maybe. I don't think he's like actively, like trying to be toxic or anything like that. But I do think it does kind of open the door to that type of conversation.
I think whatever it may be, it's leagues better than the fucking PowerPoint slideshow between him and Amber in season 2.
Right.
That's like maybe the worst part of the show.
Did you guys see the animation mess up in this episode? Because we always have to talk about the animation.
We do. We should segue into the animation.
So when he comes through the window and says hi to her, and she like gets up off the bed and comes up and hugs him, she says something and her lips don't move.
Oh, really?
I swear to God, if you go back and look, right when he gets back, she gets up, she's like, Mark, I miss you. Literally no movement in the lips, and they hug, and I'm like, oh my God, how did this get past quality control?
Maybe I'm crazy and like I'm trying to, you know, positivity max, as I put it, and counteract Vinny's point that the animation sucks. But I actually did feel like in this episode the lighting really caught my attention.
I'm not saying there isn't good animation in here. I'm just saying like there are some things that's like, how did this get past review?
I totally understand. There's definitely valid critiques in there. I didn't notice it, but I believe you.
Yeah.
Just generally speaking though, I thought like some of the lighting specifically in this episode looked really good.
Yeah.
That like final scene with Thrag, I thought looked great. The ship with Debbie and Nolan, I thought like looked really cool. That like introductory sequence I thought looked excellent with the wave. Like there's a lot of really good stuff in here visually. There is a lot of PNGs kind of just like floating across the screen for sure. Not gonna lie, some Mark flying stuff was just him like in a T-pose, like kind of just levitating for a little while. But still, I think generally speaking, looked pretty good this week.
Yeah, I was just calling that out because we have to bring it up.
I know, I know.
For the commenters,
yeah, the
they'll love
commenters
this.
Will point out, you know, at minute 36, you know, I'm sure.
Well, they'll either love us or hate us. You know, they love when we call out, you know, bad animation, but they also love when we say the animation is good enough. So we just got to play both sides with our host.
We are perfitly moderate on this channel. We have no strong views.
That actually reminds me, not to take a step back in the conversation, but that what you said about just people reacting to Invincible as a whole, or just media as a whole, the thing with the abortion and Eve. And here's the thing, no matter what way they go with it, people are going to hit it. No matter what way. Like if they go that way that Mark and I were talking about, where he was like, you know, he's putting it on himself. And in my perspective, I agree with you, Mark, of, hey, like, maybe if he keeps bringing it up, like, hey, I wasn't here, Eve should be like, okay, that's in the past, you can't change the past.
Right.
So do something for me now and be here for me now, then, instead of constantly like warping it around this like I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But people would be unsatisfied
And then-
with that, because then Eve would be like an Amber situation where like people were mad at Amber because she was like, oh, well, I knew you were a superhero, but right? So it'd be like that, but in the board, like, so, yeah, no matter what, people are gonna be mad about the whole
I
situation.
can see what you're saying though, because especially it's like
Yeah.
she's crying, like trying to be like, "Oh, this horrible thing happened," and then Mark is like, "Oh, sorry, I was hallucinating you being murdered. My bad."
And, and then he says, what if I need to go off the ward again? Like, and I'm not here for you. It's like, really? We're bringing that up now?
I don't know. I mean, I could buy it though.
Yeah,
like
I
Mark
can.
went through some heinous shit, and now he comes back and he's like, "Oh my god, they're coming. Like he's in like the paranoid, like
Yeah.
fucking stoner green out mode.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I don't know.
Yo, honestly, let's just have the next 4 seasons be that. Like, what if Mark goes full schizo?
Oh my
And,
god.
like,
Wow.
That's his character arc, is that he's like constantly hallucinating Viltrum's killing his family. He's going insane. Like he like it's like a situation where he's
He snaps
hallucinating.
Oliver's neck out of fear. He makes a
he
loud
thinks
noise.
he thinks a random person in the road's a filter. I just
Yeah.
punches through. Oh shit.
Yeah, that would be cool if Mark just like grabs Cecil and he's like, "Are you a Viltrumite?" You know?
Everyone's a filter.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I like
that.
that.
Would be interesting.
That would be interesting.
that'd probably be more interesting than what they're gonna do next season.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. Do you guys have anything else, or do we want to get into scores for season 4 of
Oh,
Invincible?
true. I forgot. It's the last episode. We gotta do the scores. I didn't even think about it, so I'll let you start.
This is tough because
Mhm.
I think this was better. I think this was better than JJK season 3 for me personally, and I think I gave that an 8. So
Oh.
is it a 9 though? I don't know. A 9's really high for a show that had that one episode in hell.
True.
I'll
that
go
really
8.5. I'll go 8.5 because it was better than JJK season 3. I think I was looking forward to it a lot every week, and I was theorizing. I'll go 8.5.
All right. Yeah, I think like I don't even know if I would give season 1 a 10. So I feel like if season 1's my benchmark and it's like a 9, I think I have to go with an 8
Okay.
or lower. But I'll stick with an 8 because I feel generally very positive about the season. The Damien Darkblood episode is a real wart on an otherwise beautiful
Mhm.
shoulder.
For sure.
But I think that yeah, generally speaking, this is the most into the show that I've been in the past couple of years for sure. So I'm gonna stick with a strong 8.
Yeah.
I forget what I gave season 3. And I do like this season a little bit more than season 3. Here's my problem with the season as a whole, is that its highs are some of the best highs in Invincible.
Mhm.
But its lows, I also think, are some of the lowest lows. Like you said with the Damien episode. But I also was not a big fan of like the first episode or the third episode. I wasn't really a huge fan of that episode where they attacked the coalition. I thought the pacing, everything was all off. I didn't like the quality of that episode from a technical perspective. So
So you didn't like half the season.
yeah, but again, the highs are incredibly high. And then the lows for me just kind of hit a point where I felt very exhausted with the show in a way that I never felt before, because I really was a big fan of all 3 seasons before this. Even with like, you know, the Angstrom Levy stuff that I wasn't like a huge fan of, but still was, I don't know, I was like a lot more excited about the show back then compared to now. I'm going to give this
Oh shit.
Herm.
Oh, shit.
Dude, you hit the Damien Darkblood Herm just there.
yeah. I'm going to give it a strong 7.
Okay.
Nice.
Because I was going to give it a 7.5, but I just don't remember where I ranked season 3 last time we reviewed it. And also, I don't like doing decimal scores too much. So I'm just going to leave it at a strong 7. On a good day, a 7.5.
Nice.
Cool. All right. Well, that has been our coverage of Invincible season 4. Hopefully you stuck with us for the whole season. We really enjoyed it overall, and definitely stick around for when we cover season 5. I think it's supposed to come out next year. They're really cranking them out based on the animation quality. Sorry, I had to get one more dig in. Definitely let us know your thoughts on this finale, on the season as a whole. Any any predictions for future seasons where you think they're going to go. Definitely like and subscribe. We got a lot more stuff coming for you guys. We love talking animation, so I'm sure we'll be talking about something else animated very soon. We're almost at 1,000 subscribers, so please subscribe. Tell everyone what we're doing over here and give us a subscription. Yeah, I think that's it. I've been Mark Jacobino.
I've been Sean Villa. Oh my God, did we frick it up, dude? Did you cut to you?
No, I cut to you.
I've been Sean Villa.
Oh, and I'm Vinny Albano.
Okay, we'll see you on the next one.
This is the culture.